been a while. Been 3 weeks since the last video, and I figured I'd check in and I don't know, do an update in case someone cares. A little shit jam at the beginning there. Was the loop was playing through the effects loop of the Magnatone 3534, which is out that way, and the solo-y part stuff was being played through the 55 Magnatone Melodier Deluxe Model 109 with the two 8-inch speakers. Through the Magnatone, I had what did I have? I had some Flint reverb, a little bit of Starlight tape delay, UAFX Starlight, the tape delay, and a little bit of ODR1 going through just to kind of warm it up. I find, probably because they're two small, weak 8-inch speakers, try to push that amp too hard and it starts to get crackly or farty. It's not what it's designed to do. It's not what it's designed to be played for. Like, you know, back then they weren't designing amps to crunch up and stuff. So when you got them to crunch up, they didn't always sound right. Some did, these didn't, probably. But that's what I was playing through there, and that's what I'm actually hooked up right now. This is the Melodier Magnatone Melodier Deluxe with the effects I just said. They're the Flint, the Starlight, and a little bit of the ODR1. Turn off the delay just so you can kind of get slightly more, like, less affected tone. No mic on it, it's just in the room with the phone stuff. So my intention was to do a video with mics on the Melodier. I keep pointing down that way because it's right there. Maybe I'll throw a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. Anyways, and then I got really busy with stuff. So as you may or may not know, like, I'm not a YouTuber. So YouTube is not how I'm making any money at all. I'm using this as a vessel for getting my brand of pickups out and you know, something to do with my time when in slow periods, whatever. So the last 3 weeks, I had my plates full on the things that actually do make me some money, right? So a lot of design work. So I'm a graphic designer. I make pickups. I make pickups. I fix and repair and rewind pickups, and I work on guitars and do setups and stuff. So I had a bunch of shit just land on my desk. I shouldn't say shit because none of it was actual shit. I had a bunch of stuff, a bunch of work to do. So a lot of design stuff on, you know, a lot of stuff on the design front. A lot of stuff on I actually did a rewind on a bunch of vintage pickups. I'll show a picture of some of them there. So we'll just kind of imagine that right now we've got the pickups all gutted and stuff, and then what they looked like after when I was packing them up to ship. So we had two 60s Telecaster bridge pickups that were just dead, and I tried to, you know, there's little tricks you can do to try and revive them. Could not revive them, they were dead. So I had to rewind them. So one had a gray base plate and the other one had a black base plate. And based on that and the magnet length and diameter, one looked like was either 65 and newer, 1965 and newer. And the other one, the one with the black base plate, was like 64 or earlier. So 64, 65, we'll say, for those two pickups. And a 70s, I'm assuming 70s because they came out in the, like on the Les Paul Deluxe. So Les Paul Deluxe pick up the mini humbuckers that fit into what looks like a cutout of a P90 cover, sort of. And that's how they're mounted in a P90 route. So one of those came in, did on arrival. All three of them had been tampered with from someone who knows what decade, but it was the whole coil was wrapped with a strip of copper tape and wires soldered to that for shielding. They don't really need those, and so I rewound them back to vintage spec with the cord wrap on those, and then the deluxe mini humbucker somewhere in the 70s. I think it had a patent number on the bottom sticker or decal, just like the PF decals, like the water slides, but it was a patent number. And it was dead, and the coils had been wrapped with that same copper stuff. So I fixed those, sent them off, and that's when I got met with another hurdle, which is when you're shipping stuff to the States, a lot of new things and new procedures and stuff to get stuff sent over to the States. So I had to pay, on that one, I had to pay $153 in taxes on something I didn't buy, that I was repairing and sending back to the United States. I'm in Canada, in case you didn't know. So I had to eat that cost, and then, I'm not charging the customer that. So now I'm trying to get through to the CBSA, the board agency, to maybe get my $153 back, because it's a tax that on something I didn't buy. So I don't know, but I went a few hours on hold with them, and then the call gets dropped. You send them an email, and they send you a long, like it's probably computer generated, a long reply with things you can do, and you read it, and none of it makes sense. It's probably by design. So that's ongoing, but at least the customer got their pickups back, or they will this week. I ended up went back to send them Canada Post, and they went on strike. So we went with UPS because it was the nearest drop-off location here. So they're on their way home. And I ended up selling a couple pickups from the ready to ship section for that 25% off deal that I had in September, which is over now. But I might put it up again, maybe December. Anywho, so sold a few there, and I ended up selling a new build again to the States. And hopefully they don't get forked over at the border with duties and taxes and stuff out the ass. But yeah, so that was the pickup side of things. I had a lot of research and then rewinding and repair and all this stuff, and boxing and shipping and dealing with that, and some design stuff. So that kind of took up a lot of time, and when I don't have, a couple hours to spare in the week, I can't really make a video. So that's why I didn't make a video for 3 weeks. That, and then there's something else too that I'm not getting all political on the channel or religious or anything like that. But a couple weeks ago, there's also an event that happened. Well, there's a series of events, unrelated events, but one of which kind of rocked me to my core, and not because of the event itself. And it's more so how people reacted after the fact. And we're gonna get a little real here. This is sort of what I do with the channel, right? So I've said it before. I'm not pushing my brand of pickups down your throat. When I have something to say about them, I'll say that. Try to keep it guitar related, but also kind of keep it real life related too, when I feel like there's a message that I need to say just to get off my chest. And also because this whole show is like also me documenting my existence so that when I'm gone, my kids have some kind of proof that I existed, right? I don't take pictures really. Usually when in a family event, when a camera comes out, I usually I don't want to be on camera. But I do enjoy it when I end up getting captured candidly in a family event. Like, I was there. But I'm rarely in the pictures. So I'm doing this also to document my existence. And I can't, certain things I just have to say, I guess. But so the event, I'm sure you could fill in the blanks, right? Someone was assassinated. And I don't care what side you're on. I don't even want to think about sides, right? Don't care what your beliefs are, what your religious or political beliefs are, what your stance is on those things. I don't care. And you shouldn't care what stance I'm on either. What we should care about, though, I think, is how a disgusting amount of people, and I'm not saying they're bad people, they're just people, jumped on this bandwagon of celebrating and cheering and expressing joy from the individual being assassinated. And that got me thinking, is this really where we're at? That we celebrate someone's loss of life because they didn't believe the same things we do, religiously, politically, in general, right? Like, there's just a shit ton of people I don't agree with, and there's a shit ton of people that don't agree with me. But does that warrant being taken out? You know? Like, debate, like healthy debate is important. You have to have two sides, opposing sides of thought or belief or whatever. And the debate is part of testing those theories and beliefs and kind of seeing what actually sticks, what ends up being true. When one side says, no, our side is all the truth and the other side is all lies. As soon as I hear that, I start paying attention to both sides, because usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. But when we're cheering on the loss of life of someone, that's, are we really there? Is that where we're at? Really? Is that really the kind of people we want to be? I think that's the thing that really, big reason why I didn't make a video in the last 3 weeks is just, I just, the aftermath, or just not so much the aftermath, the observations I made following that event and leading to that event, unrelated, but like, I've been paying attention for a while, observing people's behaviors and stuff. And I'm not surprised at all that a lot of people reacted the way they did post this event. I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed in us. I'm disappointed in us as, like, you know, everyone, like, people, in, you know, not us guitar players, not disappointed in that, but just people in general, you know. Like, I keep going back to this individual, but this applies to all like the past, the present, and the future, not just this individual. But let's take this individual as an example. The moment his lights went out, his political stance and beliefs They don't matter. His religious stance and beliefs don't matter. None of us, none of ours do. At that point, when he fell, the only thing that matters is a human was taken out by some other human. Whatever the story, whatever the truth is on that, whether what we were shown on TV or what was told as the truth is true or not, that's irrelevant in this context of the conversation. But the moment he fell, nothing else mattered other than someone took out a husband, a father, a dad, right? A brother, a son, an uncle, maybe? I don't know. How many of us have uncles, aunts, sisters, brothers, moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers, nieces, nephews? How many of us have that? You know, or how many of us are one of those things to someone else? Right? A human was taken out. That's all that matters. A human being was taken down because of stuff he believed in or said or his stance on whatever. Because people regardless of all that, a human was taken down because a large group of people didn't agree with him. Regardless of the fact that there's a large group of people that did agree with him. But he was taken out. A human being, just like me, just like you, just like anybody. And we as a population had some of us cheering and celebrating. And so that doesn't sit right with me. And that fucked me up a little bit. And so regardless of the people, like the specific characters involved and the person who passed, all those details aside, the thing that messed me up was the thought of, is that where we're at? Because if that's where we're at, I think we lost our way. We lost our way. And I think a lot of people are drunk on the media Kool-Aid, the political Kool-Aid. And it's almost, maybe it's by design, but it's almost like we're intentionally being divided into us, them versus them. Those people, this group versus this group. That how many divisions? Like we're at this point, we're like divided into a fucking 40 slice pizza. And I think we can do better than that. I think we can do better than that. You know, I had a friend. Well, I have a friend who once said, well, he used to say this. He probably still does. I haven't talked to him in a while. He might not consider me a friend anymore. You part ways sometimes, but I still think of him as a friend. But he used to say, humankind, be both. And I think we can all kind of start leaning into that more. I think we could all find ways to, you put your differences aside. You don't have to pick a side. Just be kind, be human. And everyone else because really we're just a bunch of people trying to survive on this giant spinning ball in space, right? Whether you're from Canada, US, Russia, Ukraine, Japan, Australia, whatever, we're all kind of the same beings on a spinning ball in an ecosystem in space of other spinning balls or spinning plates, depending on what your belief is on there. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, we're it's all pretty miraculous that we're all here able to, do this stuff. So I think we need to get back in touch with remembering, like, we're all kind of just one. You don't have to sound like a hippie. Maybe. So that's the vibe I'm on. We just need to be kinder and stop judging so much and pay attention to both sides and stop drinking the fucking mainstream Kool-Aid, because they are manipulating. There's a lot of us are getting manipulated into, ball by design. They want us fighting and divided, and the best way we can fight that is by uniting instead, and not cheering on when someone we don't particularly agree with passes away or gets taken out. Yeah, I think that's it for that's the video, man. Next week or whatever, eventually we'll mic up the Magnatone. Try and get some good mic sounds out of it and document that, and then I'll probably eventually sell it off. I don't have a use for that amp, but I'm sure it'd be quite useful in a studio, right? Different tones for different things. It's got a cool tone, and it sound like in the room it sounds a lot bigger than it looks. So maybe we'll do that, and I believe, like in 11 days will be the 1 year mark of this show, of doing this. It's been a year. Sorry for getting real, but you got to do that once in a while, and I like to keep myself in check, and maybe that helps your perspective too on things. We all make mistakes. That's the thing about bandwagons and movements. When you join a movement that's currently hip and viral, usually from what I've observed, when you join movements, bandwagons, movements, usually you'll end up on the wrong side of history the wrong side of history, or it's gonna go dark. And I think it's important to not jump on bandwagons or movements, and maybe just self-reflect and think and lead by example rather than joining bandwagons. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. All right, last thing, and then we're going to shut this down, because holy fuck, right? Barely played guitar or shoot anything. Shirts. So my last video 3 weeks ago, I was saying I was waiting on shirts. That same day, I ended up getting one of them, which I think was this one. So this is the Telecaster FC52 shirt pickups, right? Telecaster bridge pickup, Telecaster neck pickup. I didn't make it covered on the neck pickup because it kind of wouldn't look right? So this is what it looks like before I put the cover on, solder it up, send it out. So they came the same day. So basically what happened was I ordered 3 shirts. They sent 2 shirts from North Carolina after a couple days of order, because it is print on demand and I don't hold stock. So they printed them, they shipped them. It took about 7 to 10 business days to get across the border into Canada, blah, 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 blah. I didn't pay any taxes or duties on that, I don't think. Or if I did, it wasn't much. It made sense. It would be like buying something here and paying tax like we do all the time. The other shirt that got sent from Canada, probably I think around Mississauga area, South Ontario, took more time to get printed, probably because they had to find what location had the right shirt size and color that I was asking for. Once they found that, they printed it and sent it off. It actually came in before the American shipment. I think the American shipment came the next day, even though it was sent 10 days before. So the quality I got, like they're good shirts. They feel nice. They're not Gildan. Generally speaking, safe to say 7 to 10 business days they should arrive, whatever. That being said, here in Canada now, Canada Post is on strike, so they may ship differently. So they might take like a different courier or whatever. So we'll see how long the strike lasts. I have no control as to where, how the t-shirt printing company sends their prints, because I don't do it in-house. The pickups I do, and so the pickups I can ship it however way is currently shipping and not on strike. So if you're ordering stuff, it's probably going to come UPS probably until, because Purelator, as far as I know, they're kind of fucking around too, because they're affiliated with Canada Post. So probably end up being UPS or FedEx, depending on what is the most, closest to shipping price. I'll probably end up being out of pocket a couple bucks, but that's the price of business sometimes to keep things smooth. So that's that. We'll try and eventually get into the mood of miking up that little Magnatone. I'm also contemplating comparing a Faber ABR1 bridge with a Gibson one, because I've been reading conflicting things. Some people say that the Faber is brighter, and some people say that no, the stock Gibson one is brighter. The Faber one has more low end and smoother top end when you put it on the guitar. Kind of curious about that. I'm also contemplating doing a kit build. So I don't know if that's something that the viewers that I do have, if that's something that interests you or not. I'm kind of curious about it, but at the same time, I also don't want it to be like to acquire another guitar that you can't really sell, right? So I'd end up with more money invested in a guitar that isn't worth, maybe, I don't know. Kind of where my head's at, trying to think of things that I can do on the video, like on the channel here, where maybe someone picks up a new trick or learns something or whatever. So, fuck, we're rambling on. On that note, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And if you got through that real life thing, hopefully we can lead by example and help more and more people just kind of learn to be human again and connect again and form community again. Because I think a lot of us are divided and are taking stances that are a little harsh on, I think we're doing exactly what they want us to be doing, and I think we should be doing the opposite. I think we should be getting in touch with our humanness, our fellow humans. So, humankind, be both. Play guitar, and the next video will be more guitar related.